Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here,
And BlueDragonFive.
and welcome to the highly anticipated event where we cover the most wholly original of the Disney film roster. They may not be animated classics or billion-dollar blockbusters, but for those who grew up with them, the nostalgia factor can't be beat. So, look up your Descendants, grab your high school yearbook, activate your smart home, and get even, Steven. We're taking a trip down memory lane and revisiting some of the most memorable Disney Channel original movies. This is
DCOM-ARAMA.
DCOM-ARAMA! I gotta hand it to you, Dragon. I gotta hand it to you. DCOM-ARAMA is a really good name for this.
Yep, definitely, a little, maybe it's kind of a distant cousin of Flipporama, but, DCOM-ARAMA, I don't know.
Well, you know what I like about it? You know what I like about it? It kind of takes on the the Ray Kroc philosophy of like, oh, you can't say it without smiling.
Yep.
I'm serious. Try saying DCOM-ARAMA. Like, you clearly have to smile to say it.
DCOM-ARAMA. Yeah, you're right on the Rama, it just kind of happens.
Yeah. It just kind of like it's fun to say, basically. Anyways. Okay, folks, so this is Dragon. This is actually a very, very long anticipated series for me because I, of course, like a lot of other people, grew up with the Disney Channel original movies. We've covered a couple of them here and there. Most notably, Dragon, we've already covered the most memorable one for me personally, which is The Luck of the Irish. That was probably like number one in terms of like memorable Disney Channel original movies.
And we've
for me.
covered one of mine with 'Twas the Night.
Of course. But there's a whole ton more, of course, and we're going to get to 4 of them this month. Basically, what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to go reverse chronological order. We're going to start with the biggest mega franchise from the Disney Channel original movie lineup, which, as you can see from the thumbnail, is Disney's Descendants. And then we're going to go all the way back to one of the early Disney Channel original movies.
Yep.
Should be a fun ride. All right, so Dragon. I'm sorry, I've been working a lot with. It's like the reverse Dragon because I'm kind of relishing in this moment here because I usually accidentally call Jacob Dragon, and now I've been working with Jacob so much on the DuckTales podcast that I'm calling you Jacob. Consider it a compliment.
Maybe stop the day drinking, Tiki. Maybe start there. Okay, so.
Wow, gee, shots fired. Wow.
I'm kidding. Come on.
Anyways. All right, so Dragon, my thesis. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to welcome some folks in the comments. We got Donovan Martin, who, by the way, of course, Descendants was a kind of a special request that we're honoring in terms of how we're starting things off here with Descendants. And also want to welcome Pink Pearl Disney Wishes, formerly known as Pink Pearl Apple, but Pink Pearl Disney Wishes. Welcome. Everyone, come to you faithful. Welcome.
Yeah, I know that Pink Pearl's been waiting for all the DuckTales episodes to come out in one chunk before she watches them all. So, understandably, I get why you're not in the comments for those. But welcome, nice to see you on board.
Yeah, good.
And Donovan, yes, the moment has come. I know how much Donovan is throbbing at the mouth to get to this. So, Donovan, I'm just gonna have to give a quick disclaimer here. Donovan, I don't necessarily know if you grew up with this movie. Like, I don't know the age gap between us or anything like that. I did not grow up with this movie. I was about 24, 25-ish when this movie came out, roughly. So, suffice to say, I was a grown-ass man when this movie came out. And so, Dragon, in terms of nostalgia, I don't have any nostalgia for this, really. Really, I don't. But I do have nostalgia for the George Clooney Alexander Payne collaboration, Descendants. Or the Descendants, I mean. Do you want me to talk about the nostalgia I have for that movie, Dragon?
Let's forego that.
You know, because George Clooney is all depressed in Hawaii, and it's like this great contrast between living in this beautiful tropical setting, but then having a really like a personal family life that's falling apart. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, anyways. So, real Descendants, though, the Disney Descendants. Dragon, I gotta say, I like this one a lot, but with the caveat of, is this movie corny as hell? God, yes. Are the songs in this movie not my cup of tea? Not even in the goddamn slightest. um, does this movie have some problematic production problems? Yes. Not as strong of a yes, but yes, yes. Um, Suffice to say, though, Dragon, I had a lot of fun with this one, man. I can get the charm of it. You know, it's like I feel like the cast had a lot of chemistry with each other. These kids really they do a good job of kind of emulating their characters, and you know, honestly, this movie kind of brings me back. It's like it's nice to see that these Disney Channel original movies haven't strayed too far from the curve in terms of being really cheesy and kind of having the same sort of like contrived plot that doesn't really go anywhere. And Dragon, I'm honestly saying this is a good thing because I feel like this movie is a little bit of a throwback for me. Like I said, this movie is problematic as hell for me, and it's not like, you know, it's not like, oh my god, it's La La Land, Dragon, it's fucking La La Land. But but suffice to say, you know, like I said, Donovan, for someone who doesn't have an emotional connection to this thing at all, I liked it quite a bit. You know, I did. I get the charm of it. That's all I'll say about it. That's kind of the easiest way I can put it. Like I totally get the chemistry here. All right,
So,
Dragon.
real quick. So Donovan says I was 15 when the first one came out, so it's kind of where we're kind of clocking in on kind of the nostalgia factor for the Descendants here.
There you go. That's a different song, but I feel like that's yeah, I feel like that's interesting because I, I was 15 when High School Musical came out. So I have some nostalgia for High School Musical. So that's it's kind of like an interesting generational gap thing there. Anyway, anyways.
All right. Also, just wanted to read off a few things before
Okay,
we
Dragon. So what's your overall impression of this?
All right. Well, okay. So let me break it down for you here. So my thesis would go along the lines of this. I feel The Descendants is it's a novel concept with a lot of unrealized potential. Now, I know that it's coming from a good place, but this I feel falls victim to certain kind of DCOM trappings, Disney Channel original movie trappings, if you will. Now I want to be perfectly clear. I'm trying to be fair to this. I really am. I gave it two considerations. The two considerations are this. On one hand, this for me is following a better concept, and basically something I had to kind of get out of my head as much as I could, because again, this is one of the first things that comes to mind with something like Descendants, especially what it kind of does in the film, where I've seen this concept done a lot better in things like Once Upon a Time. Now, again, Once Upon a Time, not perfect, but let's just say, it's kind of batting like 70 out of, like a good 75 out of 100%. It's doing a serviceable job. Again, like some seasons are better than others. Last season, I don't know what they were thinking, but you know what I mean. On the whole, Once Upon a Time, it's a satisfying experience. Not perfect, but neither is any show. It's kind of like maybe it's no Gotham, but maybe it's kind of like a rung under Gotham in a good way. It's kind of in the vein of a Gotham, but by the same token, I think it had a little bit more like they knew where they were going with things from the start. That's sort of anyway.
Also, Better Call Saul is a perfect show.
I know that one is a perfect show.
I'm just throwing it out there. Anyways.
I have so many geeky factoids about Better Call Saul now that I finally got my hands on season 4 on Blu-ray, but I can't get into those quite yet. I know Pink Pearl feels my pain because she wants to talk about DuckTales spoilers, but she won't. So we have things we want to talk about here. We got to stay on track. So my point is this. My point is this quite simple. So again, the two considerations are, I've seen this done better personally with Once Upon a Time, kind of seeing kind of like the fairy, kind of our classic Disney characters adapted into adapting the live action or kind of realized in a different way. It's kind of playing with a concept similar to something like that. I know it's not exactly the same because it's Descendants, but we also see kind of the old the older generation, but also Once Upon a Time had like the kids of the fairy tale creatures. So I don't know. There's a little bit of both in there. Point being, so that's the main consideration. But the second, that's one consideration. The other consideration that really gave me pause recently is that I'm not the audience for this. At least, again, I think what you're speaking to, you and I aren't necessarily the audience for this.
God, no, we really aren't.
And here's the thing: I say that, and this occurred to me, flying into. I kind of went into this with this mindset because Alex Poncio, one of our friends at Just Giggle It, Alex Poncio taught me something very valuable recently. He taught me. See, Alex Poncio was on a show. It's on Netflix called No Good Nick. Featuring Sean Astin and Melissa Joan Hart. I know that sounds enticing. I'm going to break it to you like this, folks. Poncio is tremendous. He's wonderful. He's great. I'm not just saying to blow him up there, but he has like a few scenes in 3 episodes, and he's really good. And I was satisfied in that regard. But that show really disappointed me at the writing. But then I told Poncio this way, you're great in it, but I mean I'm not just saying that, but I tell you it's not that. This show is just not clicking me. The writing, I can't buy into the premise. A litany of reasons, but to put it simply, he kind of gave me some. Again, he didn't say it offensively or anything, but he said like, well, this is kind of made in the spirit of the Nick shows, of a Nickelodeon show, and especially Nickelodeon today, where Nickelodeon it's not like the Nickelodeon you and I had growing up, Tiki. It's not like Keenan and Kel. It's not like Drake and Josh even.
And Josh. Yeah.
And that's the point, because if you notice now, Nickelodeon is kind of more pandering, getting younger and younger with the cast and everything. So it's kind of playing down and down. But again, I'm sure that serves that audience, but it's not exactly for everyone as the previous shows were. And I feel that's the mindset I came in with this thing.
Disney has DuckTales. Again, I want to repeat that. Disney has DuckTales.
True, but you see where I'm coming from.
I hear,
right?
I hear you.
So the round things out a little here. So again, I had those 2 considerations going into this thing. Okay, so I can't compare it to Once Upon a Time, and I can't be overly harsh on this thing because again, it's not exactly made for me. So it's going for. I do respect it on this level, though. This is why I say there's a lot of unrealized potential, because I can't expect Yates out of this thing. I can't expect like a really in-depth character study. But
by the same token, I didn't walk into this like being like, okay, as a musical, this is going to be La La Land. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, this thing, what I do come out of this thing with is that this is going for some noble themes that I do respect and I do kind of buy into with the premise. That, it's all about second chances, rehabilitation. We have some, we see bad parental relationships. This is some interesting stuff that would feed into a younger demographic. That's the premise I'm buying into. Okay, let's see the next generation of our iconic characters. That's a good idea. But again, while we're going for these things, I think what it's combating is we're falling victim to, again, some of those, usually the DCOM trappings, again, while we love them and they're nostalgic, there are also some drawbacks. And the drawbacks usually are one of 3 things. It's the writing, it's the acting, or it's the sell, as in it's the premise overpowering what it is. Like, it's like, we're selling this before we're telling a story. And this one, I feel, is mostly the writing. A little bit of the sell, but mostly, again, the sell wins me over, but I think the writing is off in places, and I feel that shines through. But again, I can't be overly critical on it. So the sell didn't scare me off, but the writing could have been more solid. Could have sold. Basically, the writing could have sold this more. So that's my. I don't hate this thing by any stretch, but I feel like it could have been so much more because they won me over more than I thought it was going to be. But that's where I'm at on it. I'm in the middle, but I'm positive in the middle. If that makes any sense.
I kind of hear you, Dragon. I'm feeling you. I feel like I'm like slightly more positive than you are, but we're in the same ballpark. We're in the same ballpark here.
Yeah.
Like, basically, if anything, I think the trappings of the DCOM, DCOM. I was right the first time. The trappings of the DCOM are kind of what appeal to me. Like, I feel like that's the big difference between our opinions of this. Like, I kind of enjoy the throwback nature of this. But regardless, I like writing wise, yes, they're like I feel like the pace is definitely very slow. The plot kind of goes all over the place. I feel like the distribution of screen time between the characters is kind of all over the place as well. And like some characters are kind of all over the movie and other characters are sort of faded into the background. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely problematic. But
Let me
yeah,
read some.
like you said, I definitely think it has its heart in the right place. This is a Kenny Ortega production, so at the very least there's going to be some damn good choreography, and that doesn't disappoint.
Right. So
Yeah.
let me read some comments here. We have some responses here. I want to read them
Okay.
real quick. All right, let me see. We also had some others kind of nostalgic callbacks to some other DCOM movies. You know, like Cowbells, Cadet Kelly, Horse Sense, which I just can't recall for the life of me.
I can't recall Cowbells, honestly.
Oh,
That
I
does not.
remember Cowbells. Cowbells was sold like crazy. You don't remember Cowbells?
No, I don't.
Oh my god, yeah, it was just ridiculous. You know, it's almost like a Lucy and Ethel premise. It's like let's take these. Imagine like the Valley Girl, like the 90210 version of Lucy and Ethel, kind of taken and put on a farm. It's like, okay, look at them now. They're on a farm, and now they're kind of these bells, but now they're around cows, cowbells.
Oh, I get the fun of the title. All right.
You know, like their pink cowgirl hats and everything, like they're on a
So
farm. And
it's basically the Simple Life, that weird Paris Hilton show from back in the day.
in essence, like a kid-friendly Simple Life. Yeah.
All
Right.
right.
So let me read some other stuff real quick here. So again, Pink Pearl Apple has a very interesting point that she was 25 when Descendants came out. So basically, goes on to say that I'm sorry. So basically, in currently, says I'm 29. You think I'm the key audience for this? LOL. You know, it is a good movie though. Can't wait for 3. So again, this thing does have its fans. And again, this is just two opinions, folks. And I hear. I'm interested. And again, I see the potential for this. I wanted to be a little bit more wowed by it, but I get it. I think Tiki and I are kind of on the same board that we get the hype, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, Dragon, I think wowed and this do not go hand in hand in my vocabulary.
At the very least, wowed and like, wow, they did that.
I don't say that in an insulting way at all. I just mean, like, yes, it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I just, it's got some stuff. It's all right, Dragon. Uh, basically, like I'm trying to hold off on something for pros and cons, but there's an issue in this movie that really bothers me, and it's super distracting. Can I just say it? Because it's kind of bugging me.
Well, I did. Well, you might as well now.
Okay, the ADR in this movie is bad. Just that's all I'm gonna say.
I'm sorry, Tiggs, real quick, because I heard some really interesting ADR stories from Better Call Saul. Man, there's some really
Oh
that just shows
God.
you like the beauty of ADR. Like,
Sponsored by Better Call Saul. We're literally trying to sell the DVD to our audience right now.
the Blu-ray, not the
Frankly,
DVD.
Better Call Saul and Disney Descendants does not have a big crossover appeal.
Okay, fine. All right. I'm just saying that Better Call Saul had some reveals, but they used ADR, and there's things that Tiki and I never caught. You and I never in our lives would have known there was ADR in those scenes, but there were, and it was amazing. But anyway.
Okay, well, you know what, Dragon? Would you guess that there was ADR in like 99% of the singing in this movie? Yes, because it's super obvious.
All right, Donovan and Pink Pearl are asking what ADR is. ADR is additional dialogue replacement. That's basically when you have dialogue, let's say it's windy out, or like someone has a cold, or they're sick or something. They're not sounding quite themselves. Where usually you loop them. You play the scene in front of the actor in a recording booth, and they try to link it up as best they can, or else there's some little bit of trickery to go on. There's basically they loop better audio over top of the existing scene. So that's what ADR is, folks. PSAs. You learned something today. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and so in the case of the songs, basically, like in layman's terms, in the case of the songs in this movie, I'm sorry. It's like I am sure that when I look back on High School Musical 2, it's going to be the same issue, so I'm kind of bracing myself for that. But the songs in this movie are just so obviously lip synced. It's like they don't even try to hide it, man.
Right. All right, so let's see. And also, again, I guess talking about the Descendants has a little bit of a hype for, I guess, the third Descendants It's coming out, which again people are really excited for. So again, I guess if anyone gets that out of it too, we
And you know what? I have
right.
a feeling that much like High School Musical 2, I have a feeling like Donovan and Pink Pearl Apple, of course, can confirm this, but I have a feeling Descendants 2 is like if we looked at Descendants 2, I have a feeling it'd build upon this.
I saw one scene. I checked out this one scene from Descendants too. That did kind of make me pleased. Like, yeah, okay, they're going because the main thing I'm left with in a lot of this movie is that again, I feel one of the issues I had in the movie is I feel they knew they were going to have sequels, and I feel that may have detracted from the effort they put in the first one in places. And I feel that's like, yeah, they kind of they had to have they had to have had a good idea. Yeah, we're doing sequels here. Again, to have an ending that says the story's not over yet.
Okay, that bothered the hell out of me, but we'll get there.
Exactly, we'll get there. So real quick, I don't have a lot of background here, but Donovan gratefully has presented some. So let me get into a little bit of background that we do have on this.
Okay.
So the main thing that Tiki's kind of alluded to, the main thing that I had was that Kenny Ortega directed this. And of course, Kenny Ortega, very a story in Hollywood of like Manuel went from choreographer to director, and he's done things such as the High School Musical films, Hocus Pocus, and Newsies.
Ah, Newsies, yes, of course.
And worked with Christian Bale and Bette Midler. So, no knocking against Kenny Ortega. I really wonder if he's related. Now, you know, it's too coincidental. I'm going to say it right now. It is too coincidental. He is not related to Haley Ortega from the Goldbergs, because that'd be wonderful. We don't live in a wonderful world.
Wow, that's a pull.
Yeah, because she is delightful in the Goldbergs. Anyway, I know you and I gave again. That's Erica Goldberg. Remember the character that we thought every time we got into a holiday special, she's always just kind of like in the sidelines. But I've now officially caught up with all. I finished the current 6th season ended recently.
So you were today at Imagineer, sponsored by the Goldbergs.
It's ABC. They're all funding the same mouse. It's all good.
All right, fine.
Anyway, okay, so. Sorry, getting back on point, folks. Forgive our spottiness. Let me read off some gratefully provided background here. So real quick, I just want to get some good stuff here. Okay, so this is interesting. So apparently, Sophia Carlson, the actress who portrays Evie. Evie. So apparently, originally she auditioned for the role of Audrey. Audrey, I believe, being the Audrey was is that Aurora's? Yeah, it's Aurora, right? I mean, that's Aurora's.
I feel like that's the romantic rival.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I keep fearing that I'm going to confuse Jane and Audrey. If I'm right, Jane is the fairy godmother's daughter, and Audrey is the Aurora's daughter. Sleeping Beauty.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Let's see if there's anything major.
Okay. All right.
Okay, apparently Descendants at first glance wasn't going to be a musical, but an action-adventure comedy. And I think that's very interesting. That makes me wonder if maybe there was a change in directors, perhaps. Like maybe if there was I don't know, because Kenny Ortega usually want a choreographed musical, usually. So I'm wondering about that. But it's very interesting to know that originally it wasn't supposed to be a musical. Assuming that's true, it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
I think it's about it, but let's just yeah, that's about it for now. If anything pops up, I was going to see if I can work it in throughout. But okay, all right. So plot then.
Right, hit us.
Okay, here's the plot in a nutshell, folks. Just in case someone hasn't quite seen the first Descendants, or maybe it's been a while. It's a little refresher, a little forces for.
All right, Donovan, take notes. Take notes, Donovan. I expect you to know this stuff.
Exactly. So for anyone, if anyone wants to judge, let's see how well they know this. Well, here's what happens.
Right. This will be a test on our part, not their part.
All right. So the sense in a nutshell, emphasis, is at the end of Beauty and the Beast, we cross over all the kingdoms and banish the villains to the Isle of the Lost with this magic dampening spell in effect. Basically, magic doesn't work there. Basically, keep the villains at bay, in check, so they don't seek revenge, all that sort of stuff. They're not in prison, but they're not causing anyone any trouble. So, 20 years later, the next generation, the new kids on the block, one could say, or the new kids on the Isle. 20 years later, the next generation enters the picture. The Beast and Belle's son, Ben, soon to be king. Ben, soon to be king. wants to reintegrate the Isle, starting with a select few children, select few descendants, if you will. They send them to Auroradon, the Auroradon Prep. Rodon Prep, which essentially is, because school, right? Because we have to do school, because it's
Because school.
because school, right? Because they're going to a prep school because we got Kenny Ortega, and they're kids, right? Because it has to be a school, right? Anyway, so so essentially the descendants of the evil queen Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, and Jafar are instructed to steal the fairy godmother's wand so they can turn off the dampening spell. So Maleficent, specifically Maleficent and company, can take over their what they believe rightfully to be theirs. And over time, we see each descendant feeling gradually more welcomed, and throughout the process, question their originally sinister agenda.
All right.
Now, Mal falls. Here's the cover. The few that remains here. Mal, she falls for Ben, who doesn't even care about the deception, the ruse of it all, and Mal then faces her mom, Maleficent, and faces a big moment of change, and basically she sides with the good guys, which leads to a dance party, coronation ceremony, and the story's not over, and that's the movie.
Okay.
All right, Don and Ted were correct. It seems like we're on the money. Okay, yay for
us. All right, good. All right. So George Clooney plays. I'm sorry, no, I'm kidding.
Okay, no, folks, we're basically gonna break down our characters and their kind of their families via each character. So we're gonna break this down, starting with Mal.
All right.
Mal.
Creative name.
Well, Maleficent, very ego-driven, just wants to name the kid after herself. Mal, Maleficent, get it? Haha.
All right. Dragon, I'm going to give you a bit of trivia. Do you know the thing that makes Kristen Chenoweth as Mal so cool? Or as Maleficent, I mean?
Is it the Wicked connection?
Yes, the Wicked connection, yes.
And she was in the Muppets.
But, yeah, that's true. But Chenoweth, she played Glinda in Wicked, so I think this is really cool. It's kind of like a cool role reversal, right? Like she was playing the good witch in Wicked, famously. Like I feel like still to this day, Glinda is probably her most famous role, even though it was only a stage role. I feel like it's eclipsed everything she's done on screen. And now here she is playing a bad witch, and I think that's cool. I think it's kind of a cool like bookend sort of thing with her.
Yeah, a little fun. Here's a few fun facts about Dove Cameron, about the stuff she's been in. Dove Cameron, I actually recognized Dove Cameron because I thought there was something familiar about her, and I looked it up like, oh my god, that's where I know her from. She actually has some Marvel credentials, Tiki. MCU, technically MCU, and even some animation background. So here's the thing. So Dove Cameron, she was a character introduced on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was a bad guy. She's a really interesting bad guy. Again, I wonder if maybe this fed into... makes me wonder if Descendants fed into kind of some stuff she'd be doing in her career, because she plays a character who kind of is kind of raised by a bad guy essentially, and she's kind of used. Basically, she's raised by Hydra essentially. That's kind of the deal with her character.
God.
She kind of has it's an interesting thing. Essentially, she's kind of the next generation of Lady Hydra. So that's or Madam Hydra, I believe, is kind of the point being. So she's kind of like she's kind of the answer to Daisy Johnson. I know I'm boring you with all this. The point being, she plays a bad guy who's a little conflicted. That's kind of the point there. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting stuff I can get into with their point. She's in the MCU, but she's also in this animated thing they're doing, which, considering Marvel's track record with current animation, current being the operative word, I'm not talking about Spectacular Spider-Man or Marvel's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'm talking like...
or 90s X-Men.
Or 9. Basically, everything, I guess, ending at maybe 2008. I think it's when Spectacular Spider-Man and Wolverine the X-Men ended. Point being, 2008 onward, after all the good stuff was canceled, she's on this thing called Marvel Rising. I believe you can find all the full episodes on YouTube or so, and it's not bad. Folks, this is the most glowing review I can give it. I mean, it's not bad, I guess. Okay, I mean, I've barely seen it, but I mean, she plays Spider-Gwen. She plays, as they call her, like Ghost Spider. It's one of Gwen Stacy's, in Spider-Verse, like one of her other names is Ghost Spider, so that's who she plays. So. Yes, let's break her down.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is like I feel like honestly, I feel like all the other things. I don't say this as an insult to her at all, but I feel like all the other three characters were a little bit more like I was drawn a little bit more to them. I feel like they had more energy. Whereas Mal, I feel like oddly enough, in spite of her circumstances, was kind of the straight man of this cast, at least in terms of the main four villain descendants. So in that way, honestly, I felt like her scenes were a little bit repetitive of like, oh, this cute guy, but my mother, but this cute guy, but my mother. And I don't know, Dragon. I didn't really dig her. I felt like out of all the main cast, I felt like I like not that she dragged the movie down or anything, but she got a ton of screen time, and I just wasn't that drawn to her.
Real quick, just want to say the Pink Pearl Apple has to go. And so, I mean, thanks for joining us. Hopefully, it sounds I'm paranoid. It might have been because of Agents of Shield because I brought that up because there's like that's my cue to go. So hopefully, Agents of Shield didn't scare you off on that one, Pink Pearl. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's that I have a 5-year-old that reads everything I type and is what is watching with me.
Enough.
Sorry about that. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, point is, let me weigh in on Mal here. So Mal, here's the thing. So Mal, I felt I don't know, I'm feeling a little more generous towards Mal because I feel Mal was the most fleshed out arc. Again, bear in mind comparatively, I think the most fleshed out arc.
He was the most fleshed out arc, but like I said, I just felt like the others were a little bit more magnetic.
It was kind of funny. I think she has kind of an arc similar to movie Maleficent, from the Angelina Jolie.
Oh, and by the way, breaking down Maleficent, one of the things this movie did right, Maleficent actually turns into a dragon.
You're darn right, and that was a huge pro for me. I was going to say later on, but yes, yep, actually turns into a dragon. But yeah, man, here's what I like about Mal. So Mal is someone who she has the most pressure, and I love this. We kind of take, and this is where I think the movie is kind of firing on the right cylinders for me, is that we take a character who is, again, it's like you're living up to Maleficent, one of the most iconic villains. Not iconic in that she's in like the most well-written, and one of the most beautiful, it's a beautiful looking movie, but again, it's not, I don't know, the stories, it's a Disney movie that doesn't quite pop, with the exception of the visuals surrounding the villain. Maleficent looks great, classically in the Disney lore. And you have to live up to one of the most imposing icon, at the very least iconic. Turns into a big old dragon. It's built into a lot of into what is it? What's the one with the water show with Mickey Mouse? What was that called? Fantasmic. Fantasmic, yes.
Yeah.
Built into Fantasmic, more often than not. And that's the thing. So you have to live up to that, and you have the pressure of like you gotta be evil like me. And the point is, like, all of these characters have a bit of a legacy to them, obviously, as the title would imply. And I love that she's dealing with a lot of perceived menace. And this is where we're getting to kind of, I think, the interesting psychology and the interesting kind of like the whole like we kind of analyze the parentage of these characters a little bit here, where she's. We see that the relationship with her mother has kind of made her distrusting of people, and again, just kind of more like, again, she wasn't able to make her own choices in life. I get a sense of, like she has a good streak to her, and we see this by all she needed were a few good human connections to really kind of get her to kind of embrace who she really is. She needed to see kindness from other people. She never quite got that from her mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making any sense with that?
No, you are. I'm sorry. I feel kind of bad for being a little bit lukewarm on her when you're pulling out all these layers, Dragon. You're kind of leaving me speechless here.
I mean, we do have this really
like you're pulling everything out. I'm like, yeah, shit, I didn't think of that. That's a good point.
I love these great bits that we have with Maleficent, where Maleficent, we have the stare down. The stare down, I feel, is a really big moment with them, because basically we had that moment earlier on where they kind of stare each other down, and of course Mal blinks at the start, and that's just kind of that's basically kind of it kind of tells you everything you need to know about the relationship, where it's there's she's kind of stares down Mal into submission. That's the power that she holds over her. And basically, their bond is one of power, and it's not one of mother-daughter moments as Mal would like. And that's why they're crying in the cookie dough over not making cookies in life. That's why.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah.
No, I'm just saying. All right. Yeah. Good points.
All right.
Is that about it? I'm sorry, Dragon.
No, it's fine.
It's more like you're right. She does have a good arc. She's got a lot of pressure on her. She's got a lot, and a lot of what I have to say about her also has to do with Ben as well. So I'm kind of tiptoeing around that whole dynamic. So I apologize if I'm not really that strong in this segment here.
No, that's fine. I said one thing to add with Maleficent, then let's get to
okay.
our next one. Is that I like that, again, in reflecting their changes. I love that Mal has a moment of change where Maleficent does not take, in reflection to her daughter, she does not take her moment of change, and she refuses to settle for defeat. She refuses the peaceful solution, which again, her whole refusal to change is her undoing. So that's good. All right.
Also, really quick, I really like the idea that the dragon is going to grow bigger the more that she loves her daughter.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a nice kind of like fairy tale logic. You know what I mean? It's it's logic that doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It makes more sense in terms of the emotional connection than the logical. Like, well, actually, how would that? I'm sorry. I want to nitpick the hell out of people who are nitpicking in-game Dragon.
But Tiki, you bring up an interesting point. I completely missed that part, and what that makes me think? I think it's a really good idea that the fact that her. I'm sorry, you wanted to say it?
Oh no, I'm just saying. Yeah, the basically at the end the spell turn. I'm sorry, I miss all the kind of the intricate details here, but basically there's a spell that turns the dragon into like a tiny little like lizard type dragon, right? Like not a Chinese dragon, but like a Mushu scale dragon.
More like an iguana for budget's sake, if we're being honest. It's really an iguana. It's not even a lizard. It's really just a lizard.
Fair enough. But essentially the idea, and I believe the fairy godmother has a line basically saying like, well, you came around to loving your mother, so something about like forever is a long time, so I'm sure she'll grow to love you eventually. And I don't know, Dragon, I got the sense that meant that the more that the dragon loved Mal, the more that she. Donovan, are we completely off point with this?
Let me say this, Tiki. If I kind of like your idea better, honestly. I don't know whether it's in the movie or not, whether they're reaching that deep for it or not. I have no idea. But what I can say, though, if that is the case, Tiki, what's so great, it's like a haunting final note that no, this relationship, there's room for it to grow in the literal sense as well as the figurative sense. The point being,
yeah.
But again, it's still. I just love that we hit that. No, I don't think they're hitting it hard enough. But I like that better because of the fact I couldn't really pick up on that. But I mean, the fact of the matter is,
it's there. It's just cryptic fairy godmother dialogue, if anything.
That's the thing. What I'm getting out of it, though, if what you read on it, though, Tiki, is that it's the fact that again we show that because she doesn't love her daughter, that because she doesn't really know how to love her daughter, that's why she's that small. And we kind of leave her that way at the end. That's a good idea.
Right.
Again, if they're saying that. And Donovan says, she said that she shrunk to the size of love she had in her heart.
Oh, yeah. Right. So basically, yeah. So she doesn't have, again, that I really like that note. The fact that she shrunk, like she does not have a lot of love at all, but the love can grow. There's potential there.
Exactly. That's interesting. So again, kudos.
All right.
All right, so let's talk Eevee. So I know Donovan is dying for us to get to Eevee because there's a lot of stuff I can't quite repeat here. No, I'm kidding. It's not that bad. But it's just the fact Donovan basically has a Farmiga, and again, I'm not trying to put him under a microscope or anything. But Donovan, you're in good company because Donovan has a big love and affinity for Sophia Carlson, like Tiki and I have for Vera Farmiga, or more like how I have it for Grey Delisles. But same point being.
Yeah, and full disclosure here, I'm not gonna get into the whole Donovan, you're 10 years younger than us, so I have no opinion either way about the physical attractiveness of.
However, I will point out something ironic that I did note after seeing finally, because again, we've always heard Sophia Carlson talked up, and I've never really seen her until this movie, until this very the very beginning of this film. And I got to be honest, because I didn't know who she played, because I didn't know if she was going to play the Mal. Or
I thought she was going to play Mal. That's the thing.
Me too. But again, that's not a problem. What I'm saying is, and here's the ironic thing to you, because I mentioned Once Upon a Time, and I got to be honest, so Don doesn't feel quite alone here. Look, I'll be honest, man. Lana Parrilla, who plays Regina, who plays the evil queen on Once Upon a Time. I got to be honest, most attractive woman I've ever seen in life. I have it bad for Lana Parrilla. I will not lie. Point being, I do. I mean, again, Great Allows is up there, but I mean, Great Allows is just the perfect woman put on this earth. But in all seriousness, seriously, Lana Parrilla, just oh my god. The point being, evil queen, and we have the daughter of the evil queen here, that Donovan's. Right. Again, I'm just again. The point is, it has an affinity for it. So, point being, good company. I don't know what it is. Evil queen. I don't know why.
And honestly, okay. I am going to go ahead and guess that this character has more of a presence in Descendants 2.
Yeah, I'd wager that, but I don't know for certain.
Because it's not like she didn't like. I like the actress. I do. I feel like the actress had a lot more.
Yeah, I really did enjoy Evie as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like the actress had a lot more. Basically, a lot more charisma than the actress playing Mal. Not to say the actress playing Mal was bad or anything, but I feel like she had kind of like a magnetic, sort of bubbly personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what it is for me? I think I liked Mal's storyline more, given the whole Ben thing. But we'll get there. I liked Mal's story a lot, but I think performance-wise, I think Evie was my favorite. If I'm being honest, I think Sophia Carlson. I think she had presence, and she had I was interested in what Evie was doing. Even though I don't know why. Again, Evie just had that shriek, and I was like, man, I like this character.
I mean, she doesn't really get all that much to do. It's like really
no. Yeah, that's the thing. Because I'm kind of that's one of my cons.
She's cheating on Tess with a magic mirror, and she's like the supportive friend to Mal. But really, no offense, Donovan, that's about it. I'm like, honestly, I'm kind of trying to dig for stuff to talk about with her. But like we said, at the very least, in terms of performance, even though it is it's probably the least. No, maybe third least amount of screen time, because I think Carlos is probably the one with the least amount of screen time. But
this is going to sound really
I think Jay probably have more screen time than her.
It's going to sound really stupid just because you mentioned Carlos. I got to be honest, Tiki. I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I don't know. Maybe because I binged him a while back. I don't know. But every time I hear Carlos, everyone's watching this thing with Carlos, I keep thinking of the line for, I was watching Never Sleep Again, the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary. I keep thinking of that bit, like, nice hearing from you, Carlos.
Wow, our references are just getting more and more obscure this podcast, Drake.
When he kills the guy with the Q-tip. Nice hearing, the hearing aid guys. Like, nice hearing.
No, I don't know. I literally don't know, because I watched that documentary once and it's like 4 hours long.
Well, that means you do.
So I'm sorry,
Drake. That means you do know, but you've forgotten. So you do know about it, though.
Fair enough.
Anyway, sorry. Back to Evie. So Evie, here's the thing. I think Evie. The problem is, I think we scratch a very interesting surface with her, but not deep enough. And here's the thing. So here's what, again, I could be reading into a lot of this, but I think here's what what they're going for, and I really like about the character. Here's what we're doing with her. A lot of it's into interpretation of like what we get from these characters. So the descendant of the evil queen. So think about this. She's like the candidate, like the next generation's like a candidate for the fairest of them all. That's kind of what we're going for with her. Is that she's like the evil queen, not so much. Again, this take on the evil queen for Lana Parrilla, there'd be a different story. But the point being, it's this the evil queen here again. She kind of lost out on being the fairest of them all, and that's kind of what Evie's kind of going for. She's like coasting on her looks because most likely her mother wanted to be the fairest of them all, and I think I don't know how directly they're going for here is that, I don't know, the evil queen just, I bear in mind, again, this is me divorcing myself from Once Upon a Time here for what I've seen with the evil queen. But again, I know it's very different, but the evil queen we have here, she's very, she's costumed like verbatim what we had in Snow White. Mm-hmm. So again, I got to give it kudos there. And what I like what we're doing here, again, we're seeing, like, I think she I don't know why. It's like I think she seems to be the oldest out of the gathering of the Descendants, but sorry of the
I would not be surprised. Yeah, it's probably either her or Jay.
exactly. No. I'm sorry. Not no. I meant Evil Queen. I mean, she's the oldest out of the parents of the
Oh,
Descendants.
my bad. I thought you meant Sophia Carlson in terms of the actors, but yeah.
You might be right on that too, but my point is, like Evil Queen, I think she seems to be kind of the oldest. The point, my main point is this: is that it feels to me that it's like she's passing on her failure from Snow White onto her daughter, and that is kind of put her on a pedestal. You have to be the fairest of them all. I've raised such a beautiful girl. Coast with your looks. I think it's what she's been abdicating, basically abdicating her own defeat into her daughter. And that's the main thing I really love. Basically, those are the things I like in the characters most. When they kind of we take what we kind of have a lineage built into what their failings are, and I think we do that with, at least for the most part, with these characters. And I think we do that a lot with Evie, where we don't talk about it, but we see in that, okay, she has the magic mirror. And her story is she's kind of played off as like someone who she has the seductive quality to her, and we see her like she has like Doug Doug under her thumb, and that's the kind of stuff of it. You're like, I love the relationship she has with Doug. Dopey.
No, you're right. That is a very lovable dynamic for sure. Doug, son of Dopey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. One, of course, she fell for a dwarf, which
Oh my god! By the way, this brings me back. Do you remember how head over heels we fell for Grumpy during that Frozen Ever After podcast we did?
And Tiki, I keep telling you, at the very least, if you ever go back to it, the first season has these great one-off episodes that tells you the sad, awesome story of Grumpy. Man, it's awesome.
Oh, that does sound enticing. All right.
My favorite one-off, man, and then the one you have to watch, even before the Grumpy one, you gotta watch the one, because Giancarlo Esposito, we have him in the episode. He has the one most, oh my god, Giancarlo Esposito, because remember, he was in that show as the Magic Mirror.
Yes.
We get to see the origin of the Magic Mirror. And it's the most, oh my god, it's such a great story behind what happens to him anyway. So, point being, season 1, Once Upon a Time, but we're not talking about Once Upon a Time, we're talking about something else.
We're talking about something tangentially related to Once Upon a Time.
Sure. Anyway, so you see what I'm getting at here? I like that. She has this relationship with Doug. Where Doug, she's definitely kind of charming Doug, and there's a really sweet relationship that blooms there. And again, the core of what Evie's story is that she's going for Chad Charming. She's going for the next generation of Prince Charming, because her mother's all about, you're a pretty girl, land a prince. Pretty girl, land a prince. You're the fairest of them all, marry a prince. That's what she's all about, and that's kind of what Evie's mindset is. But then she meets a guy like Doug, and that sort of changes. And again, she's wronged by Mr. Handsome and good looks and everything, and she ends up with a dwarf, a descendant of one of the 7 dwarves. And again, my point is, like, what this guy's telling her, what Doug's telling her, is that you got to balance yourself. Basically, it's all about finding the balance of you. It's all about self-confidence. Like he gives her the self-confidence boost of, you're smart. Don't just play to your looks. Don't let other people, dictate how you're valued. Like don't be used. Don't be a user. Be yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's it's a really good message. I just wish we were a little, I don't know. I mean, we have it with the Doug story, but still, I just feel like, I think it's there enough, but I like it. That's the thing I'm getting from Evie, really.
I mean, like I said, Dragon, I hate to sound like a broken record here, but I feel like the main structural problem with this movie is that Mal gets all the character development, and then everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit.
Hello?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, sorry. A little bit of a delay there.
Okay, so we're moving on to Jay then.
Yeah, can you hear me? Are
yes,
we rolling okay now? In terms of audio?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Okay. Right. I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine. Just checking.
Moving on to Jay.
So Jay is my favorite character in the movie.
Jay, to me, out of all the...
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, like, I don't even know why, really. I just think he's a lot of fun. And also, Dragon, it just tickles me pink that the actor who plays Jay, his name is Boo Boo. That's just so charming. I don't know. Anyways,
Are you sure it's Boo? Here's the thing. I just might be me reading it wrong because I always thought I just assumed like a quick glance I thought it was Bobo.
no, I'm pretty sure it's Boo Boo. It's Booboo.
Well, he's named after a bear either way, so it's fine. Anyway, so Jay to me, he had the most interesting potential at any of the characters for me, and I don't think it was realized quite to my liking. But again, I think from the introduction of this guy, I was most fascinated with Jay, and I just think I think they could have done a lot more with him. I mean, so, he's the son of Jafar, right?
Yes.
Right, son of Jafar, and what I love that we get to see the the next generation of Jafar is essentially a street rat and a thief. I love out of all the characters where we kind of take the failings of the villains or kind of the story of the villains, and we see how it would equate to the next generation. Again, it's so interesting that Jafar essentially gave birth to his enemy. But he's tainted his enemy in a way. He's perverted the idea of his nemesis that led to his downfall. Like he raised the street rat, the ultimate thief, but he didn't teach him right from wrong. He's not a thief with a heart of gold. He's just a thief. But again, he's not an evil guy. He's a good kid. He's a good kid who steals because he had a bad parent. A parent just didn't teach him right from wrong. He steals because why not? Dad never said it was a wrong thing to do. I just steal because it's what I say. It's not a kleptomania thing. He just steals because that's life for him. He doesn't know any better. I love that. That's fascinating to me. But here's where they lose me. You ready?
Let me guess. Does it have something to do with the fact that Mal gets all the screen time and character development and everyone else gets pushed off to the sidelines?
Well, that's not the main reason I was going for, but you're not wrong. But I agree with you with the Mal thing to the extent of I like Mal's story, but you're right. We do every time we repeat the same beat with her. That's where we could be having other time spent with other characters, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But here's my main problem with Jay. So Jay is a fascinating, just in himself of who he is. Again, a guy who steals, but he's not a bad guy at all. But he's not giving it back to he's not giving it back. But really obscure. Anyway, the point being, I love that he's what I don't like is that he's unnecessarily he's a musclehead, and there's not really any reason to it. He's a musclehead because we need heartthrobs in the teen Disney thing because we need.
Okay. Yes.
We need long hair. Yeah.
Just look at this guy. Just look at this guy in the thumbnail.
That's like
this is sexy Aladdin.
That's a thing. Like look, the only true logic I can. Tiki again, it's a stretch.
Okay,
the only logic
I'm going to be honest with you, Dragon. The design of it didn't bother me nearly as much as it bothered you. Like that, to me, was not a breaking point for the character by any means. I still like basically what you're laying out is very much on point, and I kind of got the strength of that. I got the strength of the concept. Like I said, my main flaw with him is that. The setup is great, but by the time we actually get to the main movie with him, he's mostly just kind of used for an action scene here or there and then some sports antics. But yeah, honestly, the design didn't really bother me all that much.
Well, no, I take the design. Look, I don't care about the design. I care about what we did with him because of that design, because that's what we did all the sports stuff with him, right? We just made him a musclehead. For the sake, we didn't do any interesting development with the fact that he's a thief and he's learning maybe that's not a good thing, or we don't know anything about this guy. We only know he's good at sports. That's all. Mm-hmm. It's like here's the thing. The only logic I could apply to it is that what they're going for is okay. It's like what if Aladdin had a little bit more strength behind him? Like it's kind of you have a power to steal, no one could stop you. I think that's the idea they're trying to go with, but they're being completely distracted with. And he's playing sports. This kind of this neat looking. I don't know how practical this sport is, but it's like this weird lacrosse shooting stuff at you on the field hybrid. I don't know.
Okay, well, to be fair, I don't care what the rules are. The rules are going to be more practical than Quidditch.
Sure, I mean that's the thing. It looks like a little bit. It looks like a more practical Quidditch. That's about the best comparison.
And Dragon, I don't want to get into a rant here, but Quidditch has always been my least favorite part of the Harry Potter universe. Well, besides anything and everything we saw in The Crimes of Grindelwald, but that's a different story.
I'm gonna get all Ralph Garman podcast.
No, really, hold on, really quick. The thing that bothers me about Quidditch is the whole, like, the rules of it, where it's like, if you catch the golden snitch, then that's basically like basically none of the other things that happen in the game matter at all. If you catch the golden snitch, then you get like a huge gap of point that's almost like impossible to overcome. Yeah. And it ends the game. Anyways, go ahead, Garmin.
I'm gonna get all Garmin on here. Basically, Garmin is like, he just kind of blows your mind with like a little quiet fact. But you know what, Tiki? Let me tell you something. Back when I could have been sold on Harry Potter, it was kind of like the nail in the coffin for like, you know what? I don't think I need to check it out.
Quidditch?
It was Quidditch.
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. Quidditch is just not. It does not hold up. I mean, frankly, the fact that there's like real life Quidditch teams, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that's awesome from like a bonding point of view. I'm sure it cultivates great friendships and everything. That's awesome. I have nothing against any of that. I know a couple people from like Imagineering boards and everything who are on Quidditch teams. Awesome.
Yeah, nothing against Quidditch. I'm the same way back when
the sport itself is ridiculous. The sport itself is just freaking ridiculous.
Anyway, point being, so getting back on topic here. Real quick, Donovan shared a little fact with that this actor was also in Twilight. So that didn't help. Anyway, let's see. So I want to talk about Jafar, though. Jafar is great. So Jafar was my favorite of all the parents, by the way. Again, this feeds in all the potential that Jay had. Again, we didn't do anything with the whole, like, he steals. Why does he steal? Is he going to break this habit? Like, again, like, we raise the next...
I wanted to see more of Jafar, man. I feel like...
What?
Damn it. Do you want me to go in and out? Are we getting the delay again? Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm just paranoid with this whole delay thing. My bad. Yeah, Jafar, it's like, I agree with you. He is the most enigmatic of the villains, but I also think he's the one with the least amount of screen time, which is a shame.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I'm on the edge of my seat, wondering, like, it's next generation. Again, it's kind of a next generation Aladdin with a really interesting backstory. Again, given who his father is and all that stuff, and with Jafar, what we have is really cool. Like with Jafar, where he's supportive, but he wants the riches before showing love towards his son. I love it. Like his son brings him riches. Like, yes, I love you, boy. And of course, like before, it's like, what'd you bring me, Jay? And of course, then it's like, yes, my son, he brought me stuff. And I love that. It's a great dynamic. And basically, I love what Jafar, he's grown into, and kind of what we're saying with Jay as well, is that Jafar became the facade he played in Aladdin. He became like, the guy in the dungeon who's like, oh yes, bring me the lamp. He became that guy in real life.
Right, yeah.
That's I don't know. That's great. And I love that he's adapted to this. He's out of all the characters, and the interesting about it is he's adapted to the magic train. He's adapted to the isolation. Like he's adapted to his defeat the best. The situation the best. He's a junk shop owner. That's what he's doing now, and he's fine with that. He hopes to get some good gold in there, but that's what he is. It's I don't know, just again, they had the most potential in Jafar. Again, he was brief, but at least all of the Jafar scenes I thought were really, really good. Again, very few and far between, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I think let down by the fact that we had no payoff of Jay whatsoever, except he's good at sports and he's strong and he can knock people down. By the way, my favorite part of the sport, by the way, it involves shields. I love that this sport involves shields.
Of course you do, Dragon. That is so on brand.
But seriously, we did cool shield stuff you got it. See, why can't we have that in more sports? That's how you get me interested in sports. Is give them shields. All right, just give them shields. Like I would never take. I'm not a football. If they gave football players shields, then you'd have I'd at least watch it. All right, give them shields. That's all. Make it interesting.
Oh man!
It would make. I know it would make no sense. I'm just saying that's the one thing this sport had going for it.
No, it would not make any sense at all, Dragon.
I know
like,
it
how
wouldn't
would
make any. I'm just saying, like, why
around
couldn't we?
a big shield, and you'd have to like carry the ball with one hand.
But you know what I'm saying, though. Like, why can't we jazz up a sport instead of being the same thing over again? At least give it something interesting. Like, that's the thing. This sport probably doesn't make a lick of sense, but you know what? At least it's visually interesting. I'll give it that. It's visually interesting. They have like cool armor and stuff. It's like, all right, that's kind of neat. Not, I probably wouldn't be able to follow it, but it's kind of neat.
All right.
Anyway.
Oh boy.
Let's start with the most disappointing of the kids.
Carlos.
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
I mean, I like his design.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. I don't hate Carlos. I just feel like Carlos had more than Jay. Even Jay, I'm disappointed by because I love Jay the most. It's like, God, I thought I was gonna like Jay the most. It's like, man, Jay has me. I'm so instantly sold on Jay, and then we didn't really do anything with that through the movie because we did all these mouth scenes.
But Carlos is more just like, oh, and he's also here, and then he just kind of fades into the background and is less here, and
Carlos is a poor victim of circumstance, in my opinion. See, here's the thing. Carlos is the prime example of what I was trying to avoid during all this. Okay, Carlos is the example of there's so many. Carlos is a walking missed opportunity. He is. Carlos is, he's the son of Cruella de Vil. I like that we gave Cruella de Vil a son. I think it's a good choice. Kind of swap. We're not just like it's not all the mothers have daughters. I guess it's like switch them up a little bit. That's nice in itself. Beyond that, what I think, if they were, I don't know if maybe the movie are a little bit more smarter, a little bit at the very. I shouldn't say smarter. We're more ambitious. What they could be doing. I think what they're trying, just barely scratching the surface of, is okay. Carlos is loyal to his mother like a dog, and he is being manipulated by his owner / his mother. And I think what they're trying to say, but here's the problem, Tiki. It's they say this and then they go back on it and don't even address the fact they went back. They don't know what they want to do with this character, and that's what bugs me about this. Because here's the thing: Carlos, he fears, she's keeping him around. She's keeping him down for selfish reasons, and that's interesting. She's keeping him down for selfish reasons, and that's why he's been sheltered and essentially handicapped by his mother to scare him straight. Dogs are out there, man. I'll keep you safe. Essentially, I think what they're hinting is like, I slay the dogs and I keep you safe. That's why you should be loyal to me. You should never basically have like a Norman Bates relationship. Almost is that you should always be subservient to me, and almost like a dog owner relationship. Of course, we don't do any. But here's. I'm sorry. I'm dipping into
basically what you're laying out is like an interesting fan theory about their dynamic.
Exactly. That's all I really have to cling on to. And I'll get into what really bugs me about it specifically when we get to cons. But here's the other thing, though. Cruella was the most disappointing of all the parents for me. Because Cruella it's bad casting. I'm sorry.
That's where you and I differ.
Yeah.
I like the design. I thought the performance was on point. Honestly, I just thought it was an interesting choice to make her African American. That was nice.
I mean, sure, that's fine. What I'm saying is, I'm very much again. I am trying to divorce myself from it here. But again, once upon a time did it better with Cruella. But trying to divorce. Again, look, that's besides the point, though. Okay, I liked it better there. But here's my point, though. Is that Cruella? She's just broad and has no substance, and I think that really hurts the character and the performance to me. I don't know. Maybe that's it. She's playing at one note, and she's very poorly written. And again, she's basically she's the half-baked dog motif that doesn't make any sense. Like she's squeaking the head of the fake dog. Like, what is you have? What's the deal? What's going on here?
Brian, I give you that fake dog is a little weird.
And that's the thing. Like she says these things, and then she again. I think I'll admit to you again. I may even be too harsh on the actress here. That's the thing. The problem is, I feel if she's good, I can't tell. Like she has nothing to work with, and that's what kills the Cruella character for me in this, because it's like she goes back on her dog motif. I don't know what her deal is.
I mean, let's be honest here. I feel like even calling her a character is being a little generous.
That's what I'm saying. There's barely anything to grab onto. At least the other ones I can grab onto something. Evil
Yeah.
Queen I'm reading into, but at least there's a little something there. And Jafar Jafar is the best out of all of them. And of course Chenoweth, man, you can't beat Chenoweth.
No, you really
No,
cannot.
not even the Electric Mayhem can beat Chenoweth, man.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
So Krill's just frustrating to me. But anyway, so moving on.
Earl is frustrating, and Carlos is just
Again, I
nothing.
feel bad. I just feel bad for Carlos. You know.
I mean, he's got the arc where he gets the dog. That's nice. All right. Anyways.
I'm sorry, real quick. If I'm reading this right, correct me if I'm wrong, Donovan. It says Kristen Chenoweth is following Donovan on Twitter, which I think that's awesome if that's the case.
Oh, that is awesome, Donovan. Nice.
Assuming I'm reading that right. I hope I'm reading it right because that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
You know, wishful thinking. If not, I think he's telling the truth. I think it's awesome.
Uh-huh.
I hope I wasn't reading that wrong. Anyway, okay, yeah, so let's move on to Ben.
All right. Honestly, this might be my favorite dynamic of like best parents, best kid. I really like this whole. I was really sold on all of this, Dragon.
Yes, and of course, one of our familiar favorite of ours is in this. Someone who's both, I swear to God, both been in Once Upon a Time and Bates Motel.
Oh no.
Oh, tell me you didn't. Oh, you didn't catch it, did you?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay, Belle, whose name starts with a B.
Who's B?
It's Blair Watson. It's
Oh, no.
Keegan Connor Tracy. I remember when we were watching the. I believe she hadn't. Oh yeah, because she was sucked into the hat. We saw her in Once Upon a Time, and then I went back. Oh yeah, it's definitely her. It's Keegan Connor Tracy. Blair Watson, famously, who's B?
Oh.
She plays Belle, another B. Another B pseudonym character.
Yeah.
Plays Belle, and fun fact. Okay.
Wow,
Anyway.
that's just insane.
But yes.
This Bell, by the way, way better than Once Upon a Time Bell.
I'm sorry?
This Bell is way better than Once Upon a Time Bell.
Well, again, I don't think you have quite a. We only watched like half of a season to get quite a fair assessment of that. But I mean, based on what you saw, I mean, yes, I can see it. Sure.
Based on what I saw, yes. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I really like the whole dynamic where Ben is just like a very trusting person. He wants to. He's a good prince. You know what I mean? It's like he's like the type of prince where it's like, you know, he's not like he kind of reminds me of the prince from the Cinderella remake where they make him a strong character. You know, he's wanting to build bridges between the communities. He's wanting to be open. He's wanting to kind of like pave this new legacy in front of him. I got to tell you, Dragon, out of all the kids, he was by far the story I was the most invested in.
Ben, with the exception of this plot thing we're going to get to, with the exception of this plot thing, I think Ben was the best written. Yeah. I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, go ahead.
Basically, Ben, I feel was the best written character.
That, in addition,
with the exception of.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is frustrating. I'm gonna go in and out, Dragon. Just keep going.
All right. Okay. So Ben essentially is the optimist of the group here. So Ben is the optimist. He's inspired by essentially what was really great about Ben is that he's inspired by the story of his parents to give others a second chance. And I think that's really interesting. Again, it's all tied into kind of the story of Beauty and the Beast, where again you don't judge someone by the first look if they're beastly, or if, I guess in this case if their actions are beastly, if they have something to live down. So again, he's kind of like he's like the next generation's in good hands if it has minds like these. I absolutely echo Tiki's points about there's definitely kind of a Cinderella Prince vibe about this guy, right? You know, from the remake where we're adding some. You know, he's not just like he's the man who marries and or ends up with the girl in the movie. There's more than that to him, and I think he's got genuine chemistry with Mal. I mean, I think this kid and Dove Cameron, I think they hit off really well. Again, I'm sold on the dynamic. That's the thing, like. Mal, yeah, maybe gets a little too much screen time, but by the same token, though, again, Dove Cameron, she's doing a good job, and more so, I think she and Ben, they have really good. It's a nice little love story that unfolded. I'm sold on, and the chemistry and the whole shebang. The fact that someone kind of bred from one of the pre kind of the new Disney Renaissance, pre all that, or the revitalization, whatever we're calling it now. Like Beauty and the Beast was kind of the top tier. Like it's the great story of it's a great romance as well as like one of the great kind of one of the great fairy tales, one of the great Disney tales. Like that, basically a symbol of good and a symbol of iconically evil and iconically good are kind of the ones that end up with each other. That's nice. He's he's the golden boy with the welcome wagon. That's all. That's all nice and dandy. He sees good despite. Let me put it to you this way, folks. I love that we have this plot thing that's a little like, okay, it's a little much. Like, yeah, we kind of had a contrivance here, but what's great about it is, what's great about this is even though we have a contrivance, he kind of subverts the contrivance here, where he says, you know what, he sees the good despite the deceptions that our bad guys kind of laid out before him here. But he expected, of course, I welcome back the children of bad guys of Disney villains into the kingdom here. Of course, there's going to be some snafus, of course, and he knew this was coming. So again, this kid's not only a good kid, he's also a smart kid. And I really respected that. Now, real quick, let's talking about Belle and the Beast here. So Belle and the Beast, of course, as we mentioned, Keegan, Connor, Tracy, yay. Say their work, as far as they're concerned, their work's being undone, and like they're not bad guys at all here. Like they're fine, but it's the fact that their work is being undone, and they're kind of facing their own moral of the story. It's like the father, Beast is like, yeah, hello.
All right, thank God I was holding it. As soon as I dropped, I was like, oh my God, are we going to have that issue where when I come back, it goes off air? Oh my God, I was scared shitless, Dragon. Anyways. Okay. So, Beast, I'm sorry, I don't know what you were saying about Beast, but I love Beast, man. Beast is like by far, like probably, like maybe outside of Jafar, my favorite of the parents.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. Something felt right about the Beast. I can't quite put my finger on. Something just felt right about it.
Well, I mean, he was very dignified, but at the same time, you could tell like he's like a guy you don't want to cross. You know what I mean?
Right. Also, visual. Oh, sorry. You're on the ball, man. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to undercut you there.
No problem.
Anyways, let me read some Donovan stuff here. So I was kind of going on here. I want to see if we got any really good stuff from Donovan real quick here.
Okay.
Yes. Basically, in regards to Ben, he wants to do good, but loved what his father told him that if anything happens, it's on him. Basically, Donovan loved the part where his father's kind of being a little harsh with him. They're saying like, hey, look, if anything happens, it's on you. That's the responsibility you bear with a choice like this.
And that's kind of like that. That's what I'm saying about the appeal of the Beast is that, it's like, and first of all, I'm kind of proud of the movie for not resorting to like a CGI transformation with him. I mean, granted, maybe we get that with Descendants 2. I don't know, but I think it was a classy move to keep him human the whole time. But I do really like the moment where the Beast is like, like, son, this isn't on them. It's on you.
I gotta be honest.
That's some tough parenting.
It is some tough parenting. I gotta tell you though, I don't know. I'm kind of being won over about it a little bit, but I gotta be honest. It always kind of stunk to me. Like someone always felt off about that. Like, what? That's kind of prickish for the Beast to just say that to his son. But then again, if you really look at it, the Beast.
Granted, it's not having your dragon. I have no son, but.
Well, sure, but it's the fact that again, we clearly saw what happened, and then he's just saying, like, "This is all on you." But again, bear in mind, it's the Beast. Of course, we learned anything about the Beast in Beauty and the Beast is that you know what, he can be a little bullheaded, a little bit stubborn, a little bit prickish at times. God love him for it though, but he can be.
And you know what? That's what I'm saying though, Dragon. That's exactly my point. I feel like he's very much on brand in that moment.
It's not really a problem. It's just like I don't know. I take it as you will, but you're right. It's not inaccurate for the characters. I think it's fine at the end of the day. So that's why I'm of two minds about it. But yeah.
Okay, can we talk about Be Our Guest?
Well, I was going to say I have pros and cons, but we're basically there now. So you want to just?
Oh, were you? I'm sorry. I was just. It kind of relates to Ben a little bit, but if you want to save it for pros and cons, that's fine.
I mean, I figured cover the music a little bit there, but I mean, if
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
right.
No problem. No problemo.
Okay, so let's see. Also, some stuff teased by Donovan here that Ben actually turns into a partial beast in Descendants 3. You can see it in the trailers, so that's interesting.
Huh. Yeah, that is kind of an interesting hook there. Anywho. So yeah, suffice to say, I think you and I are both very much on board with the Ben, Bell, and Beast dynamic. I feel like you and I both agree it's one of the stronger points of the movie.
Yeah, and basically, as I was just the main thing you might have missed is I like that like he's inspired by the story of his parents. It's kind of like what inspired him to give everybody a second chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure.
A little bit of a shades of Aquaman there. I liked it. No, seriously, it's a good idea. All right, so let's all that said, let's just get to pros and cons.
Okay, pros, as you said, I do enjoy the aesthetic of the movie. I think the the costumes and the designs and even the choreography and the cinematography, they're all very much on point.
Again, I love the concept. I love the next generation concept. Giving them a choice is very interesting. Like, what you give them the next generation, you don't have to be the bad guys. Like, what if we'll give you all the opportunities to just kind of put you in a better environment. You had a bad home life. We admit that. Let's just give you a better shot at life. And the thing is, in premise, I'm sold on the premise more than I ever thought I'd be. It's a strong. Again, I think. Bear in mind, given that apparently it's a franchise, it is a strong starting place for the Descendants. Look, all across the board for all of these, I can say they all have a strong starting place for their arcs, whether those are fulfilled or not. At least half are at least fulfilled, but still some. But honestly, again, Mal got a little too much attention, but at least Evie doesn't even have a resolution, unfortunately. But Evie, at least Evie's in good hands. That we kind of have like a guideline where we're going with her story. And for the most part, everybody we start them all in a good place. Whether we finish them all in another place, that's another matter entirely.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The crossover appeal.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What?
The crossover appeal, uniting the kingdoms. That was a really good plot device. Basically, that's how we meld together all the that's how we get all of our crossover at the coronation. That's how we get we get Beauty and the Beast, we get
Right.
Cinderella, we get that's how we get them all there, like all the lineages, because it's United Kingdom. That's neat.
Yeah, and it is kind of like the first time we've seen like an official in canon like Disney connected universe.
Yeah, I mean, that's really neat.
It is.
Speaking of which,
it's almost kind of got like a pseudo Kingdom Hearts vibe going for it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm amazed with like the Sins and everything. Why have they never tried to do a? Again, I'm saying it would be a good idea. I'm surprised they haven't tried doing Kingdom Hearts.
A movie, you mean?
Yeah, or at least an attempt at like kind of a basically more of like a live action version of Kingdom Hearts.
You see, okay, we're gonna get a little deep cut here, but my idea for a Kingdom Hearts movie has always been kind of like again, kind of playing to that whole like cinematic universe element. You know what I mean? Where you'd have like the all the live action interpretations of the Disney characters. But Dragon, I feel like the problem with Kingdom Hearts as a movie is probably the rights issue to the Final Fantasy characters. I feel like that's probably a roadblock.
Good point. Yeah.
Anyway,
so speaking of big franchises and such, museum. We have Easter eggs in the museum. Really nice. Neat little. Basically adds to the world building, like kind of fun little nods here and there in the museum. That's kind of cool. I think we see Mickey Sorcerer's hat. I'm not sure. We might, but we see other things like we see Aladdin's lamp. We see some cool stuff in there. Let's see the relation.
I feel like casting for the most part, like I feel like a good 80% of the casting is very on point.
Yes, and I think they're all bringing the relationships to life very nice, bringing the relationships to life very nicely. I think the relationships were all nice. I bought into the relationships. Again, like I was thinking, it was like on the edge of my like not on the edge of my seat. It was more like, oh boy, I might be eye rolling through some of these relationships, but no, they're really good.
We already brought up the fact that Maleficent actually turns into a dragon. Thank God.
And played by Chenoweth. I mean, Chenoweth kind of dedicating herself to the role, and Dragon. Yes.
um.
Okay, so I want to talk about this. Okay, so one, I like that I love the heroes are. We see the heroes as elitists and kind of the real villains of the piece. That was an inspired choice. I like that we kind of see our, print Chad Charming. He's a real prick, really.
Chad Charming, yes.
Chad.
Chad. Dragon, I feel like Chad is kind of like one of those names where it's like, do you ever know any nice Chads?
I'm trying to think because God, I'm trying to. We know a number of really good Chads, but we don't know many good Chads. Yeah, I got. I'm struggling to think.
It's almost kind of like I don't know. Like I feel like there's just certain names where it's like if you have that name, you're kind of like predestined to be a douchebag.
I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not misremembering, but I remember in the Just Giggle at the Pokemon parody sketch where, by the way, they're doing a new one of those. By the way, for Detective Pikachu.
Oh my god! But yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The whole like, she said to leave, Chad.
Right? Right? Not crazy. It is Chad, isn't it?
No, you're absolutely right. That's I quote that line all the time.
Anyway, so yeah, they shot a new one, Tiki. They're going to put it up soon.
That's totally awesome. I'm all for that, as you probably can guess.
Anyway, getting back on point here, folks. Sorry about that. Okay, one of me. I like the evil like me. That was a decent song.
Yeah, I mean, the songs are like decent at best.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I'm trying to find a positive with a song here. Okay,
this is totally my bias. Is like now I'm like a huge musical theater snob, Dragon. So I like again, it's like I'm not walking into this thing like, oh, this is gonna have the musical complexity of Come From Away. You know what I mean? But
we have some.
You have no idea what Come From Away is.
I'm sorry?
I said you have no idea what Come From Away is.
I gotta admit, it sounds a smidge familiar, but I got nothing.
I brought it up with you once or twice, but
that's must be what I'm thinking of. Anyway, so Donovan says Chad is a prick, a big one when he goes for Eevee in that part where Ben the harsh reality of what his father told him. So yeah, that's the thing. Like I absolutely, that's what I'm saying. We have it's so interesting that we see kind of the classical heroes, like the ones that are perceived, that are put on a pedestal. Like their parents are good people, therefore they're going to be good people. We show it's not as clear cut. Like we have good guys like Doug, but not everyone's going to be necessarily in the same case. Chad, big brick. Here's the thing that disgusts me about you. I'm just going to rant on Chad for a brief moment.
Oh God, okay.
You know what, Chad? It's not iconic and he's supposed to be bad. I'm just saying, like, Chad. You know what? I mean, Chad, he's just using Eevee for her looks, man. That's not right. And the fact, like, what he's doing, because for a moment I'm thinking, like, oh, okay, maybe she, Eevee and Chad there again, like the whole bag of Prince. Like, you know what? For a moment they had me. Then, of course, like the minute I'm thinking on the bleacher, something's gonna happen. You're like, okay. He's gonna ask her to do his homework or something. He's gonna try to jip her out of something, and then it's a twofold thing. One, the whole jip of like, I knew that Chad was no good, and then what makes it even worse makes me want to punch this guy in his perfect teeth. To quote Civil War, makes you just want to punch the guys later on where he rats her out. Why would you rat her out? You used her and you tossed her aside. You prick. Chad.
God.
Bad Chad.
Chad.
Bad Chad.
Bad Chad.
As Donovan says Chad should be a villain, but of course, as we know, last time Prince Charming was a villain, it, had varying degrees of success.
Oh, yeah.
course, I'm referencing.
Oh boy. Oh.
Referencing Shrek 3 with that, but anyway. Okay, so yes, that brings us. Okay, let's get to. Yeah, we're in a frenzy right now. Let's tackle some cons.
I'm sorry, really quickly, I came up with an analogy for the charming situation.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Ebony Maw was the main villain of Endgame. It's like we like him in Infinity War. He's not bad in Infinity War by any stretch, but he's not main villain material.
Yeah, Maw, yeah, you're right. I mean, Maw's cool, but yeah, he couldn't.
All right.
I mean, like maybe a Doctor Strange movie, sure, but like the whole Endgame, like it's a different ball game in itself. You know, it's like I don't know.
Okay, so yeah, cons. Like I said, Dragon, the biggest con of this whole thing, the thing that I really couldn't look past at all, and as I said, I'm fully expecting to have this very same problem with High School Musical when we get to that. The lip syncing is just super obvious.
Yep. Speaking of High School Musical,
And yeah, go ahead.
for me, it's at the end of the day, I think the sense on the whole is it's a little too much. There's a little too much High School Musical in the premise with the whole school and the musical numbers. And let me make something. I want to give it props, but at the same time, it's like something that may not be bad, but again, it's a not for me sort of thing. It's not my demographic. It's not for me. Where the music makes sense to update the music for the next generation. It's why it's a little bit more poppy and kind of High School Musical-y. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. If you do the next generation, that's the next, I guess. In Disney standard, that's what the next generation's into. So I get it, but it doesn't make it good though. Just because we do that doesn't make it good. You know,
I mean, I will admit, Be Our Guest was a little painful to sit through.
that's what I'm saying. Because at the beginning, I was like, okay, I get where they're going for it. But then here's the thing. Here's where they really lost me during Be Our Guest. It's when the boys came out and they were saying like they were like they were the God, they were the silverware. They were like dancing like silverware, like pie and pudding.
Yeah, that absolutely lost me too. When they're saying like when they're literally referring to themselves as silverware, I'm like, come on, guys, could you have just rewritten the lyrics a little bit?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they lost me. Okay, guys, I get where you're going with your updating the music. It's like, hey, we had Be Our Guest in there, and that's okay. It's kind of clever. Then it lost me instantly. Like, okay, now this is embarrassing. Come on. Come on. Who wrote that? Anyway.
Yeah, honestly, Dragon, like the songs just all kind of blend together for me. They're just all like super auto-tuned pop nonsense for the most part.
Again, I think it's Ortega kind of showing like, yeah, guys, I don't know what to tell you.
I gotta say, Dragon, I remember the songs in High School Musical 2 being way better than this, but maybe that's my nostalgia blinders talking. We'll see. I haven't revisited High School Musical 2 in over 10 years, so we'll see how that goes.
No, Donovan says, yeah, that part would be Our Guest. That part was the equivalent to using Gangster's Paradise in Sonic.
Oh, God. Well, Donovan, yes, thank you. I'm glad you kind of agree. I mean, honestly, I don't even think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. That was egregious. Like, that Gangster's... Like, I think the Gangster's Paradise thing was more offensive than the Sonic design, if I'm being honest.
Didn't help.
Like, I can live with bad design, but that song is like, why are you doing this? Anyways.
All right, so again, for me, again, the big again, I don't want to be here all day with it, but again, overall, there's a lot of missed opportunities. But again, the egregious ones to me, again, Cruella. Here's why Cruella really disappoints. Again, Cruella disappoints and hurts the. Cruella disappoints and hurts the Carlos story. One, again, something's just not clicking with the actress. Again, I blame it on the writing, but again, I don't know. But I mean, here's story-wise, here's what we're doing that really hurts Carlos. Okay, he's afraid. We establish this really interesting idea. Okay, Cruella has made him afraid of dogs to one, make sure that again you can look at it in a loving way, like she doesn't want her son to leave her, or in the more Cruella way, she wants her son to be her servant and be subservient to her and never leave her because you're afraid of dogs, and I wear the I'm the lady who famously killed all the dogs. It's me.
Oh.
And that's an interesting idea. I'm come to mother. It's almost like a Mother Gothel sort of thing. Like I lie to you to protect you, that sort of thing. And then
I hear what you're saying. They just don't do anything with that, and she's
oh,
just kind of
here's
an
the part that,
caricature.
but here's the part that makes that just robs all again. They're starting that path, and again, one of the, yeah, you're right. We don't scratch surface, but here's where they really piss me off. Okay, here's where they do it. It's where it says bring a dog home though. It's like what you just said. You tried to get him to stay. Like there are dogs out there to be afraid, but then gets in there and says bring me home a dog. Like what? Really?
Oh God!
It's like you unwrote the good idea you just had. Why? Anyway.
All right, yeah, that clearly bothered you a lot more than it bothered me.
No, I'm
but
just saying there's so little there in the first place. We're just like, really? We're just like, you don't, it's just that, it's like a line that just shows you we don't care. It's like, really? Not in a good way. It's not, we don't care in a good way. It's like, you know what? It's just, we charge by the letter. You know, that's what we're doing. That's about it.
Yep.
Maybe let's see. Okay, that's, anyway, moving on.
Honestly, I don't really have that many more cons. Most of my cons do have to do with the musical
I
numbers.
think the movie's too long. Again, with basically,
Yes, I totally agree. I 100%. When I saw that it was an hour and 50 minutes, I'm like, why is this a minute over 90 minutes?
here's the thing: it's too long. We could have cut out the save time. We either could have cut out some songs, or again, if you're going to be that long, at least give us more of the other characters. Otherwise, just like that's the thing. We dedicated too much time to Mal. Where again, if we're going to be this long, at least like, make it worth. And this thing, we have a scene that's not necessarily a bad scene, but it's kind of tacked on the whole the heist, the robbery. It's like, you know what? It's a good. It's not bad, but do we really need it? Basically, it's a botch job, and do we really need it? I don't know.
I hear you.
I'm two minds about it, and I guess okay. Last thing to me, okay, this thing I'm two minds about because points for Ben knowing the whole time that she was manipulating, but still just makes me question. That's a good moment for Ben. I love that moment for Ben. I love that Ben's smarter than the average bear, as it were, smarter than the average beast, as it were. I love that. But by the same token, it's like if we're just gonna have him know the whole time, basically when the movie was going on where he ate the cookie and we seemed to be again, he was taken over by that cookie at first. And I'm thinking like, oh God, really? Because I like the chemistry she was building with this guy. Why can't it just be a natural love story? And they didn't buy it back, sure. By the same time, it's like, why do the whole cookie thing in the first place? I mean, I don't know. It just feels like this is the stuff that elongates a movie. It kind of wastes time. I don't know. And this is a really superficial thing. This is the thing with a grain of salt. But Evil Queen just looks kind of funky. But then again, I've been spoiled with Once Upon a Time, so I really can't really count.
Yep.
Her head looks. I don't know why her head looks really weird in the head thing. I don't know why. It looks really kind of like big and bobblehead. Like something looks off about that. Anyway, very surface level. Very don't count that one on the record, folks. Okay, so it's moving on.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so favorite scenes. Who has the first one chronologically?
That would be. I guess it would be me. Mine are a little bit general, but I mean, I got mine in there. So,
mine are very general as well.
All right, so I guess chronologically then. So again, my favorite, one of my favorite moments in the entire. If I had to list one moment like off the top of my head specifically, it's got to be Jafar, the Jafar lamp gag. I love it so much.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
We're again, quite simply, Jafar, who's now an owner of it. Basically, everything I love about Jafar is like in this moment here, where again he's the junk dealer. His son is a thief. Again, very Aladdin-esque. Like he praises someone, he brings him something, he brings him a lamp, and he's like, oh, a lamp, and he's geeking out, he rubs it, and before he even does it, his son tells him, Dad already tried. It's like, I just love how sad and pathetic we made Jafar. I think it's hysterical. I love it so much. So funny. Right. And as Donovan's saying, where is the snake? I mean, come on, man. We don't.
Okay, the thing with the snake is that I have a theory about the snake. I feel like a monkey actually pointed this out to me. I feel like they're going the Maleficent route with the snake, in that Iago turning giant is literally going to be their stand-in for the snake. Like the fucking sidekick is going to get to have the cool giant animal bit yet again.
Yep.
Anyways,
Let's see. I guess okay. Next one for me chronologically. Just overall, Evie and I love Evie and Doug's relationship. They're really they're really hitting it off. There's like their scenes together, like like I guess the picnic table where she's like it's like you see Doug's definitely got a thing for. It's like oh man, it's kind of she has a little that seductive edge. It's kind of nice in the performance there, like that. It basically sums up who that character is. Again, someone coasting on their looks, but again later on we see there's more to it, and then he sticks up for her, and that wins points with her. That's all. Their relationship as a whole is really nice. But I will say this though. One con I forgot to mention is that again we don't see a resolution of that. I'm convinced the reason for that is like well we're going to see more in the next movie. That come on man, that's like I wanted because remember we
Well, we also forgot to rant about that stupid ending. I mean, I know we brought it up before, but that ending is just like, it's like I've heard a sequel bait, man, but that was so lazy. It's like, yeah, by the way, there's going to be a sequel that you're going to have to watch to get the full story. Okay, thanks, bye.
I mean let me put it this way. Here's what bugs me about that move. Okay, with the ending and everything is that we had there's an unresolved issue here because remember we had the downer scene where again the coronation goes belly up because they were like the day before the coronation basically when Mal meets Ben's parents when that happens everything goes belly up and everything and we have the scene where we're at school the next day I guess and Doug is kind of like he has to go over to Chad even though again he clearly he basically we leave things unresolved there between Doug and Eve, where Doug's siding with the bad, the cool kids who are the bad guys. Like, come on, Doug, you're better than that, man. They didn't reconcile it all. And here's what they probably did. I probably missed it because they probably just they're dancing together in a dance party, which means everything's fine. Like, come on, really? No, they're not gonna like. I don't need much. I just need like, hey, we're cool again. That's all I need. But no,
No, I hear you. I hear you. That was
we're gonna
totally
see in the next movie, so it's fine. Like, come on, man, give me a complete story.
right.
I'm invested in this, man. You won. You got me invested, and then you just leave it hanging. That's why I say Evie's mostly an arc there because we don't see her, like fully in. She sets up a date and then it gets broken. Come on.
Yep.
Okay. Lastly, just I hyped this up to the moment of change with Ben. Where basically again, it's a really great moment. Summarizes Ben and Mal's whole thing. Where it's Ben saying like, look, you don't have to do this. When she has the wand and everything, it's her big moment of change. Like again, it's a really great. Just we epitomize like her big moment of choice to that specific moment. Ben saying, "You don't have to do this, man." It's a really good scene. I don't
All right.
know.
Huh. Reckon I already forgot what I shit.
Museum taking museum.
Oh, right. Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the museum, just really quickly, this is gonna take like 2 seconds, but the museum sequence where they break in, it contains a dopey security guard. And Dragon, dopey security guards are not literally like the dwarf dopey, of course, but like
That would
I'm
be
just saying
hysterical, though.
I'm just saying like dumb security guards, right? They are like a pillar of Disney Channel original movies. Disney Channel original movies have so many dumb security guards, Dragon.
Santa Claus.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of them. I'm pretty sure on Luck of the Irish, when they took that tour, there was at least one dumb security guard involved in that.
I like the site. Bear in mind, well, I would cite Spectre Gadget, but that one's not exactly like an original. So
But yeah, I don't know. I like the dumb security guard because it felt very 90s Disney Channel to me, and I like that. It was a throwback, if you will. And then Dragon, my two other moments kind of dovetail into each other, so they won't take long. We've already gone over them. It's like, say what you will about Jay just being the athlete and not really having a lot to do with the personality, but I do like the payoff of him being majorly involved in the action set piece and having a big chase with the dragon. That was cool. That was well done. And you know what, Dragon? After we were talking about it, I am going to go ahead and pick the whole that whole concept of Maleficent being shrunken down to the size of her love. Like, I honestly think that might be the smartest and most clever, like, fairy tale magic device of the whole movie. I think that's actually a really clever way to wrap up Mal's arc, and kind of it's very melancholy. You know what I mean? It's like it's more emotionally intelligent than I expected this movie to be by a long shot.
Yeah.
And that's it. Those are my moments.
All right, real quick, just Donovan says the songs in the Descendants 2 are a lot more they're a lot more natural. Basically, seem to be sound like they're going to be better, according to Donovan.
I can believe that, Donovan. I mean, I think the songs in High School Musical 2 were a big step up from the original High School Musical, so I can believe that.
As I'm hearing, like, it sounds like the franchise is something that kind of gets better and better as it goes along. Bear in mind, they got to remember, it's only like there's the sequel, and the third one's about to come out this year.
No, I know.
Still kind
I got that.
It's kind of vaguely in its infancy, but it's like not getting to the Halloween Town level. Like there's like a fourth one, and then there's like I forget if they ever did a fifth Halloween Town. The point is, it's like we do the ending, and then there's the high school, and then there's the college, and then what's next? She's moving in with 5 kids. Who knows?
Okay. Right. Dragon, hit me with your final thoughts first, and then I'll round things out.
My final thoughts are this, folks. I feel, again, there's the kind of close the loop here. So I feel Descendants, the first movie at least, Descendants is ripe with missed opportunities for an intriguing concept, or a very intriguing concept, but it's not it's not really made for me. So I had to curb. I think it's I curbed my expectations going into it. So I feel I did come out I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. This movie achieves whether it's what I would want it to be, or whether, again, like I do view there are missed opportunities in this movie, but again, I can't really that's in my opinion. But I gotta say, this movie does achieve what it sets out to be, and what it sets out to be essentially is High School Musical and with Disney IPs. That's what this thing is. It's take the Disney IPs and do a High School Musical with them, and in that regard, it's very successful with what it does. It feels like the first High School Musical with Disney characters. However, again, it has the potential to reach for something a little deeper. I wish it reached a little deeper, but again, in terms of what it's being marketed as, it's achieving the goal, and then it sounds like it gets better as it goes along. And again, that's good to hear. I mean, but again, looking at this as a solo piece, what we have right here, it's not bad. It just could have been better if given its proper due. And I feel it's the thing as you mentioned with DuckTales. It's the thing. Some things get more attention, get a little bit more street cred, as it were. Have a fan base, have a following. Get a little bit more experimental. I think that's kind of Disney operating at their best. Like, you get like a Big Hero 6, or Big Hero 6 is on its way. It's still, again, it's in season 2. I won't get into that quite yet, but the point being, Big Hero 6 had great potential. Obake, we had stuff that developed and boiled, and they were allowed, they're doing some stuff we hadn't seen before. And of course, you have DuckTales.
Well, I mean, right, and at the end of the day, DuckTales is just like the way more iconic Disney brand. That's what it comes down to.
And that's the point. You have an iconic brand that, again, you're not trying. You're selling to. You have
honestly an iconic brand that has the quality of like a Gravity Falls. So that's like a killer combination.
Essentially, but again, giving its due and allowing itself to kind of grow into what it is going to be. It's not basically, this movie is kind of boxed into something from the beginning. That, again, it sounds like over time it's kind of growing itself out of that box, but still looking at it as it's like a piece of marketing in its infancy, and I think that still kind of shows through a lot of this. But again, it's not bad. Just, again, I know it could have been better. This thing has sequels, so maybe they get better. No idea. Sounds like they do. So I mean, yeah, I'm fingers crossed for that. But again, I kind of read a lot of this in this first movie. It kind of reads as an excuse not to give it an extra oomph. That's what I'm getting from kind of that marketing box. It's like, we're just giving an excuse not to give this its extra oomph, with the fact that we're going to do sequels, we're going to do more stuff. There's going to be two or three animated series. We're going to, and there are a couple of animated series for this. Like, we're going to do more with this franchise. Therefore, we don't need to put the extra effort into the first one, because we know there's going to be more. And it's something that we usually praise movies for not doing. In this case, again, this is kind of like it's a different era, it's a different ballgame entirely. It's a TV movie with a TV budget, and again, they're balancing out that budget, I guess, for more in the franchise or whatnot, and maybe some merchandising. I don't know. It's I don't know. Again, it's good. Could have been better, but it was good enough, I guess. Good enough is basically that's kind of the backhand way to say, it was good enough, I guess. It was good enough. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Oh, sorry
All
about
right.
that, folks.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
My Chrome just decided, like, yeah, I'm gonna crash right at the end of this.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess hit him with your
Okay,
final
so
thoughts then.
Dragon, let me pull up my screen share really quick. Okay.
Yes. So again,
Yeah.
thanks to I
I
just
mean,
wanted
Dragon,
to,
I think you and I are pretty much simpatico about. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to thank Donovan and everybody for tuning in again. I was just going to thank everybody at Donovan and everybody for tuning in. That's all.
All right.
So thanks.
Okay, so yeah, Dragon, I feel like you and I are kind of like simpatico on this. For the most part, I feel like we both kind of like acknowledge that this thing isn't exactly made for us. But by the same point, we definitely took some things away that we liked about it. Honestly, though, Dragon, I feel like the things that bugged you about this didn't necessarily bug me as much. But by that point, I feel like the lip syncing bothered me more than it bothered you, and that was a big turnoff for me. So, I feel like at the end of the day, our opinions kind of like even itself out. Like, and I hope we didn't disappoint Donovan by not being like head over heels in love with this movie or anything. But I think realistically speaking, for people that didn't grow up with this, I feel like this was a good discussion, a good kind of engaging breakdown of this, and I think we did a good job.
All right.
All right. Well, folks, the party has come to an end, for now at least. But don't you change that channel. We'll be back next time with another original offering from DCOM-ARAMA. Ba 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 da. She told you to leave. Ciao.